Welcome once again to Ask Chuck webcast. Thank you very much for participating, particularly those of you who send in questions. And remember, if you send in a question and it doesn't get answered this way orally, we'll answer your question in writing or email. And I want to encourage everybody to participate because representative government's a two-way street. I'm one half of that. I'd like to communicate with my constituents face-to-face if I can, but if I can't, then through mail and email and YouTube and webcasts is still a very good way of doing it. So thank you very much for your end of the bargain of participating in representative government. You can Facebook or email or tweet your questions, and so we'll be glad to answer them. So I'll go down to two questions that we've selected for this week's program. Jim from Bettendorf tweets, quote, "What can be done to increase domestic energy production essential to growing our economy?" Well, you're very right. Energy, if you're going to have a growing economy, you're going to use more energy. And of course, we're using more energy more efficiently now. Great strides made over the last 2 or 3 decades, producing more with just a small increase in the use of energy, but still going to need more. I think the answer is a 4-part program. 1, to drill here and drill now. Include in this, you could say, build a pipeline from Canada down to Houston that's on the agenda right now, so we can get more fuel more efficiently from Canada. Number 2, all sorts of alternative energy, and most of the time in Iowa we talk just about ethanol and biodiesel, but for sure wind and solar and all of the above we ought to be promoting. And then, as I indicated just a little while ago, we ought to be doing it with a great deal of a conservation ethic. And fourthly, we would have greater use of nuclear energy. So I thank you very much for your question, but I think if we would have a very liberal following of that 4-point program, particularly for the immediate future, greater emphasis upon our own sources of petroleum and natural gas, we'd be a long ways of being less dependent upon Venezuela and places where they use our money to train terrorists to kill us in the Middle East. I'll go on to the next question. Comes via Facebook. Dan in Wellman asks, will there be any Social Security when I reach retirement age? Only 35 more years. There will be a Social Security program under existing law, but it won't be as good as what people between now and the year 2036 will have, because there's enough IOUs to keep benefits at 100% up until the year 2036. But after the year 2036, the existing law that was passed in 1936 says that you pay benefits according to cash flow. And right now, the trustees of the Social Security system, looking ahead 75 years, says that that looks like it'll be about 75% of the benefits of what people are getting today. It dictates that you ought to have 100% of benefits just like I have, and other people retired right now. But if Congress doesn't act, that's what the law says. So I hope it dictates that we have the same concern about your retirement, our children and grandchildren, as we have about people who are baby boomers going into retirement right now. And if it is, that would dictate that very shortly we should be making dramatic changes in Social Security to keep the safety net that Social Security is supposed to be, a foundation for other retirement benefits and other savings. Social Security was never meant to be a retirement system all by itself, but to go along with pensions, 401ks, and other personal savings. So thank you very much for those questions. And I always report on what the Senate's going to do this week. We'll probably be taking up the Burma sanctions bill, and we'll probably be taking up transportation bill because the Highway Trust Fund authorizing legislation sunsets September 30th, and we obviously want to keep our highways in good shape and keep the gas tax money coming in and keeping people that are in road building and road maintenance on the job. And so I hope they do that, as well as the Burma sanctions. And I'm going to be working in that direction. Then lastly, I invite you next week to email, Facebook, or tweet questions to me, and we'll be back next week. Then the week after that, we will have an opportunity to be in our state to communicate with our constituents in various ways. Thank you very much.